I know Dan Orlovsky has been on TV calling for head coaches' heads, but he's also talked about that play, how they executed it very well. Yeah, front page ESPN, I saw Dan's big face with his glasses saying, Dan Orlovsky calls for Nagy's head or calls for Nagy to be fired.
I mean, that. By the way, a lot of people in Chicago are doing the same, I guess, because they averaged 1.1 yards per play yesterday with Justin Fields. And Myles Garrett told Mike Florio afterwards of the Cleveland Browns after just burying the Bears or whatever. You know, we were actually kind of surprised. They didn't move Justin Fields at all. So I was able to just get 4.5 sacks. I mean, there were some other – I mean, it was amazing to watch that game, I think, for everybody, especially with what Justin Fields has to offer. But that Nagy thing, I mean, Orlovsky calling for his job with a platform is aggressive, and he's going to have to see Nagy at some point. I think that is going to have to be something. But if you think about that offense led by Nagy – just a few years ago, and I hate reminding the Chicago Bears fans of this, but it's very real. The man that I saw in the Sunday's conversation, with Glenny Balls in the pool and Caleb asking real questions, Mitchell Trubisky just a few years ago, number 3 overall QBR in the NFL with Nagy as a head coach. Then the next year, it looked like the entire offense was broken. Then last year, same exact thing. You bring in Andy Dalton. He seems to do okay, but there's no offensive oh my God, this team's incredible at offense. Nagy's supposed to be an offensive wonder. How is this happening? There's none of that. Then Justin Fields gets in, and it is abysmal. And everybody's wondering, how many more years do Nagy and Pace have? And Orlovsky says, they should have another day. And that's aggressive. That is an aggressive thing for sure, AJ Hawk.
It's definitely an aggressive take on it. But with Nagy, his first year there with Trubisky, he was hailed as an offensive guru. Here we have another one, another young offensive-minded guy that knows how to put his guys in position. But I don't know, what's the biggest issue? The O-line? I mean, you're sacked 9 times. You would have to think, hey, not many people could do anything with that kind of time.
Yeah, but also that defensive line of the Browns, is a good one. They are stacking that thing, you know what I mean? So I think a lot of people are thinking you get your guy hit 9 times, at some point you got to try to protect him and do something with it, somehow, some way. Maybe the Browns defense was just absolutely suffocating yesterday in Cleveland, and maybe they couldn't get anything going, but I think the lack of creativity is what has pissed the most people off. Remember, I think it was last year or 2 years ago, anytime the Bears were on primetime, it felt like the commentators were like, Nagy likes to throw in a fun play. He likes to throw in a fun. Remember they did a 1924 power eye something, and then they went into motion. This is what Nagy likes to do. He likes to keep it fun and do all this shit. It's well, then how come he seems to be the most boring guy on offense, only doing the same old thing whenever you can potentially evolve, especially with the quarterback you have now in there, Justin Fields. He has not announced a new starter, but it feels like the Bears fans are not happy with that guy's brain at all over there.
Yeah, it's a no-win situation. If you're not winning, no matter what you do, it's going to get criticized. So if you're winning, cool, you can sweep it all under the rug. But if he does run some crazy things that we've never seen and all these exotics, they're going to say, how about trying to win a game before you start running the annexation of Puerto Rico, pal? People get mad either way. So, hey, just you win games, you can keep people quiet a little bit for a while. You lose games, they're going to pick everything apart.
Winning cures all. Even if you aren't deserving of the win and everybody knows it, no questions are asked. We're undefeated. It's hard to win football games. You know what I mean? It's hard to win football games. But the Vikings, for instance, they get a massive win against the Seahawks. What are the Seahawks? We don't know. 2 second-half collapses, it feels like, by the Seattle Seahawks. Not normal at all. I assume they're going to turn it around and get it right because what they did against the Colts week 1 looked pretty fucking good. But the Vikings, they literally lose to the Cardinals last week because of a missed field goal that was this close. And it was a 34-yard field goal. They win that game. They're 2-1 right now. Completely different narrative about they needed to win this before the entire team imploded. It's very early in the season, but there are a couple bounces that are going different ways that almost makes fans, and I can't help but think as well, this isn't the year for this fucking team. You know what I mean? It just feels like that's already starting to happen. We're close to almost a quarter of the old season away.
Yeah.
What is the quarter of the season? 4-point what game? So next Wednesday?
Yeah. Next Wednesday
next
or Thursday.
Yep. Okay, we'll be about a quarter. But we're about a quarter of the way through the season. It feels like narratives are already starting to build.
Do all these rookie quarterbacks just fucking stink, or is it just because they're rookies?
Come on.
I honestly, the guys, you look at Trevor Lawrence, you're going 1. Zach Wilson, 2. Those teams are picking 1 and 2 for a reason. They kind of stink all around. And it's gonna be a grind. I heard you guys took a moment of silence for Zach Wilson's first 3 years because y'all knew it was coming. But it's ugly. And you had a much shortened offseason this year too. So you're coming off of COVID, and now you don't have as many OTAs. You don't have as many of these reps. So when you're seeing a lot of these looks for the first time on Sundays, and these coordinators, they salivate playing, rookie quarterbacks. The best of the best are going to struggle. So I think it's a combination with that. But I think all of these guys would be good long term, especially, Justin Fields, as soon as they get rid of Matt Nagy.
So you're calling for, look at Dana, University of Connecticut. They just love calling for people's jobs. Orlovsky literally.
Our coach got fired. Fire them all. Fire him all. Get him out. I called for Nagy's head before the season, though. So as soon as he announced Andy Dalton was going to be the starter, which doesn't look like a terrible decision at this point, but I just feel like you draft a guy like Justin Fields, and you're in an organization like the Bears who've kind of been looking for that guy. You're supposed to be this offensive guru. You obviously missed on Mahomes and Watson. Trubisky didn't work out. You go and draft a guy 11 who, with the college resume that Fields has, it's your job as a coach to have him ready, come week one and kind of build that franchise going forward. So 1 net passing yard yesterday, that's embarrassing.
That is tough. That's not a good start, and let's hope that does not crush old Fields' confidence. The only way we can go is up, though, Fields. Hey, don't go up, man. Road will get better.
Trubisky had the same stat.
The same stat?
Stat line, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The 1 yard.
Yeah. Josh Allen ain't going to let him play for some time. But